Hi, welcome to Wealth, Wisdom, and Whatever, a new podcast from iMoney. Today we have two guests. We have OyMoon and Siew, two certified financial planners with collectively about 40 years in the finance industry. And we're here to talk to you about what's the difference between wealth protection and wealth accumulation. Because we know that you're investing and you're just trying to make money and you're trying to grow your personal wealth, but is there a difference between trying to grow the amount of net worth you have and trying to protect it from making losses in an unstable economy? Maybe we'll start the stage by asking OyMoon, what is the difference between wealth accumulation and wealth protection?
Thank you, Farhan, to invite us to be here. Maybe before this, let's start to understand what exactly the definition of wealth. Wealth is actually, if you Google, then you will get the answer like wealth is actually a values of all the assets owned by a person or an entity. Yeah. So in common cases, we can refer cash, properties, stocks, or even businesses as asset. But I can say we categorize our life, our body as the most priceless asset that we have.
Just to follow up, so assets, basically anything you own. Do I count my car as an asset? Does it count towards my net worth?
Yes, yeah.
Or anything I own, say I've got a collection of figurines, would that count?
Yes,
So basically anything that I have, that's part of my wealth, my personal net worth.
including your life.
My life.
Including your life.
So how do I value my life? Like, is there a number I should put on it?
Yes, if you want.
Okay,
But to certain extent, that's what I say is a priceless. The most priceless asset that you have is your life.
I see. Okay. So I can't say I'm worth this amount of money.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, please continue.
Okay, all right. So, but I think the challenge here is actually how to add a alphabet Y into this word wealth to become wealthy. Yeah. So we all know wealthy means that it's a sustainability kind of long-lasting wealth. Yeah. So I think the challenge is there.
Okay. So I understand there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. So rich, I think, implies that you have a lot of money, liquid assets, cash. But wealthy means you own a lot of.
Wealthy means is long-lasting wealth.
I see.
You are rich now, but it's not necessarily you are wealthy.
Okay. So Siew, can you maybe just follow up? What is the difference between these two? Accumulating and protecting your wealth.
Many of us always think about how do we protect our wealth. A steady base of building blocks, where you protect yourself from crumbling. So basically, when you talk about wealth protection, you are actually transferring. How do you transfer this kind of risk towards protecting your wealth? In this sense, basically, it's about managing risk so that it will not wipe off whatever wealth that you have accumulated so far. So from financial planning point of view, I would say insurance is the first line of protection, and second will be the option of wealth accumulation. Okay? Now, we use insurance as a tool to manage our risk. For example, we buy home insurance policies and also personal accident insurance policies to protect ourselves from injury, right? We use this protection to transfer our risk there, Like for example, when we move out as an adult, what kind of protection do we need? I would say medical card is very important. You're actually in the mode of accumulating your wealth, but suddenly if such accidents happen, you need to go for hospitalization and surgery, have something to cover you, And also talk about how do I cover my life? Do you need to buy a life insurance policy?
I mean, a lot of people would say, do I need to cover my life? Because especially if you're single, right? It's like, well, if I'm no longer around, I can't really use any of my wealth anyway. So is that really necessary? If I'm single, do I really need a life insurance policy?
That's a very good question. Many of us buy without knowing, right? We will always ask this question. When you pass on, is there anybody depending on you? If there's dependency, like you have parents depending on you, or if you're already a parent and you have kids depending on you, yes, you must have a certain level of life insurance coverage so that if anything happens to us, your next of kin or your loved ones is protected. So they have that to go by, you know.
You said there's a certain level, right? How much should I insure myself? Especially my life. Moon said earlier that your life is priceless. You can't put a number to it.
Yeah.
But when I'm buying life insurance, they're asking me to put a number to it. So
Very true.
yeah, how do I put a number to this?
Let me just explain to you how I've been managing it with my husband, right? So if you talk about, how much should I buy, cover my life? You know, number one, first thing first, budget first. How much can you afford to cover? So it is always good to work with a financial planner. They will look at it as how much do you think your family can be comfortable with when you're not around, okay? Next 3 years? Next 5 years? Okay? So it depends on the situation. Let's just say the wife is able to continue working and after you pass on, she's able to earn a living as well. So you might want to cover that gap from, zero wealth to a certain level. So it depends.
Maybe I just add on. Having said that, looking at the high medical expenses that we can see from all these surveys, reports, we can see that the medical expenses inflation is really very high. So according to the Global Medical Trends Survey, we will see that in year 2022, the medical expenses inflation is 12.9, and in year 2 actually is 13.8%. So I would say actually medical expenses is one of the most expensive risks that we have to take care of.
So you're saying in the last 2 years, medical expenses have gone up by almost 30%?
Almost
Well,
10 to 12%.
12
10 to 12
per year?
Per year.
Per year.
Ah,
Per
okay.
year. Per year, yes.
Yes.
So that's scary, that's scary. So I would say that is something which is the first protection that every one of us must actually taking care of.
So basically insurance is our first line of defense to prevent us from losing the wealth that we've accumulated. That's the idea. So shouldn't I insure everything I own? Like my house, my life, my car. I think car, you must have insurance, right? But then like literally everything I own, anything I've ever bought, shouldn't I insure my home electronics?
I do that.
Do you?
Yes,
So
I do that.
You insured your TV?
Not those that I think are not as the pricey ones, like our laptop, our camera, your iPhone, all these cost a lot of money as well. So it makes sense, to put in a little bit of that protection, just in case suddenly the phone drop into the toilet bowl. It's a total loss. So you have to look at whether you can afford it or not.
So is it expensive to say? I mean, iPhone insurance, is it expensive?
No.
How much,
No.
may I ask?
It's less than 30 ringgit
Per month?
per year.
Per year? 30 ringgit?
It depends on the device, but
Yeah.
they also look at what you do as
I
a profession.
see. So,
As well
Yeah.
as the model that you have.
so as a writer, I sit in the office all day. I sit at home all day. It shouldn't
Then
be
it's
too
fine.
risky, right?
It's fine.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't aware that you could insure your
Yeah.
DSLR.
That you
your
call
phone.
that all risk insurance. But Farhan, that to answer your question, should you insure everything, right? I think you need to prioritize in that sense, because we are in an earning age, like what you're doing right now, you're earning a living and all, but everybody has a budget comes in very important. So but first thing first, you must look at which is the most important coverage, then comes in the next and the next and the next. You prioritize by discussing it with your financial planner, or if you have an insurance advisor that can advise you well, then it comes in as you move on in life.
Okay. I mean, I know a lot of people my age should be insuring their computers because we spend a lot of money on it. So we probably should be thinking about this, right? Because I'm a gamer, my computer at home, so
Yes.
quite expensive,
You're
right?
I think 6,000-7,000, right? For
Easily.
More than
easily
that.
go
More
on.
than that. I think more than that.
Easily more than that.
Yeah.
But it's a good segue into my next question is, you brought up that we're in an earning age right now. So let's just talk about wealth accumulation, right? For most of us, this means we makan gaji lah, go to work, find a
Correct.
job,
Yes.
every few years try to get a raise, get bonus. And at iMoney, we also tell you to invest to grow all of this. But what's the goal of wealth accumulation? Like, I know I'm trying to make a living. I know I'm trying to make savings. What am I doing this for? Maybe Moon, you got answer.
So I think this comes to the main difference of wealth protections and wealth accumulations. So for wealth protections, we have only one single goal, which is to safeguard. The keyword is to safeguard our wealth. Okay, but on the other hand, wealth accumulations, we can actually tie up to a different type of objective or different type of goals at a different time zone in our life. For example, we can say that for a young adult, your goal would be you accumulate your wealth for good traveling on every end of the year, or you want to buy a new car, new sport car, or you maybe someone prepared for get married. And for those young couple, they may thinking of change the new house because having a new baby, the children educations. All these are different goals for the purpose of wealth accumulations. So if we would say that what is the main difference of these two pillars is actually the objective. A single objective of safeguard and the multiple objective in wealth accumulation.
We were speaking before that there's this thing in investing, the rule of 72. So I'm not very familiar with this. Oh, okay. Siew Chin is like
Okay,
smiling
okay.
and like, oh, I'm ready to answer.
It's an amazing formula, basically to tell you how long can you double your money with a certain type of investment vehicle. Let's just say, for example, people like to save their money in fixed deposit. It's about very safe because it's really safe, And let's just say, talking about it right now, they can get it at about 3%. So with rule of 70, you just divide 72, divide by the rate of return, which is 3%. That number will tell you how long it takes to double up your money. So it's
24.
24 years.
24.
That
24 years just to double your money.
So that's in years. I was under the impression it was in months. So it's
No,
in years.
it's in years.
So 3% to
Yeah.
double the amount I put in.
Correct.
It's in years because of the percentage that you earn from the interest rate is per annum.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I put in 50K into a fixed deposit, 3%, so it's 24 years before I
Then
double.
only you get 100,000.
Oh my. So
Very kesian.
it is quite
Yeah.
sad.
So it makes people want to accelerate how they double up their money. So if you can find other investments that you can comfortably invest in that yields you, let's just say 10% per annum. Okay. So to double up your 50,000 to 100,000, it only takes about 7.2 years.
So for example, the EPF funds,
Yes.
I mean generally our EPF yearly return is about 6%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6%. So you use 72 divide by 6. So
12?
yeah, 12 years.
Ah,
So you able to double whatever you have in your EPF tabung within 12 years.
So by this math, EPF, you're putting your money in your EPF, especially for retirement, is twice as good as fixed deposit then.
Assuming we can always get 6%. And
That's true. So even other investments, because people you said before, fixed deposit is attractive because it's guaranteed returns, right?
Yes.
Unlike the rule of 72 it's just a guideline. It's not
It's a guideline.
exact, right?
That's right.
I see.
It's a guideline.
10% per annum is quite high though. It's really risky, isn't it?
It depends on how you define the risk. So if you know what you are investing into, and if you put in the difference where you look at knowing what you're investing into, diversifying where you're investing into to minimize risk, and also knowing what you're doing. The moment you know what you're investing into and how it works will really minimize your risk significantly, because usually more often than not, those busy people who are very into their career and working life, they don't have to dwell too much into what to invest to in, and also they always rely on probably a financial planner or other fund managers that can help them manage their funds so that they are investing it into a proper diversified portfolio that can yield 10%, sometimes 8%, sometimes 12%. It depends.
I think we're running out of time, so actually one last question for both of you. Accumulation and protection. Which should I prioritize?
I would say without you, there will not be wealth accumulation. Correct?
That's very true. Yes.
So you first thing first, I always prioritize on protection. Once you have that protection in line, that building block is there to support you, then you can actually focus on the next step, wealth accumulation, to meet your goals. So I would say wealth protection comes first, then wealth accumulation.
To me, I would say actually have to be both. While we are protecting your wealth, you have to find a way to accumulate your wealth. Otherwise, it's like what you say, how to afford to protect everything.
Correct. There's the balance.
Yeah.
So
You need to balance.
Okay. So thank you, OyMoon and Siew for this very insightful chat.
Thank you so much for
I
having us.
learned quite a bit from talking to you today. So for our audience, if you like this sort of thing, we will be recording more episodes with these two in the future, and we hope that you will tune in to listen to us. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.